Hello and welcome to Season 4, Episode 2 of A Day in the District. I'm your host, Chelsea Whittington. A Day in the District is a program designed to help you, the viewer, stay connected to your Gary Community School Corporation. Today we have what I like to call repeat offenders on the program, and rightfully so, because what makes a school district thrive, what gives us the excitement? Why, it's the athletics, of course. And so I wanted to chat a spell with our athletic director and coordinators, Robert Lee and Hank Kilander. Welcome back to the show, Season 4. How are you?
Fantastic. Thanks for having us.
Oh, thank you for accepting. I know the two of you are very busy. Hank, I catch you all on the fly because it's like there's not just one sport in the district, as everybody knows, and there's not just one level. So you all crisscross the district, ensuring that we have a robust program and offerings for children of all ages, sizes, genders, and skill levels. But I want to reflect. Coach, you have been with the district approximately 4 years now,
Yep.
and you came in challenging times. A little thing called COVID
Right.
kind of shut everything down when you talk about just the access to the field, the playing, the practice, and everything. But we've rebounded in a mighty way. So take us on a look back, both of you. I love your insight on what that looked like versus where we are now.
Well, yes, came in 4 years ago, and it was right in the middle of the COVID process. But I definitely look at it as a positive as someone as being a new athletic director. It gave me an opportunity to basically get my feet wet in pieces. So we were able to really focus on the kids and the programs without worrying about the presence of fans.
Okay.
As many fans
That's
being
right.
around. So I do see that as a blessing, and it allowed us to kind of grow as things went. And then the next year, obviously, we were able to start having fans, and that added another dimension. And so I do see it as a blessing to the point of where we're at now. Just so, thankful for the district, district administrators that trusted us to, build up the facilities and, gave us the funding to add different programs and things like that to
Yeah.
where you got to the point where we at now. And now we feel like we was a little spoiled.
Yeah.
So we,
Yeah, but it
as we-
definitely instills pride, right,
yep,
Coach?
and as we continue to grow, we're going to keep asking, and kind of keep pushing the envelope.
I like it.
So-
Hank, from your perspective, I know you are real hands-on with the scheduling and the connecting of the other schools, and I credit you secretly. I don't know if you know that I do this, but I'm like, I bet that's Hank over there making and building additional relationships that allow us to sometimes compete against schools and districts that maybe we haven't been in a while. Is that you, Hank?
Well, I would say it's all of us and people who come out and see the facilities and see what we're doing here and seeing the upgrades and everything that's going on in a great way here. So I think that opens up more doors. It opened up the new door to a conference potentially. But I came in 3.5 years ago, right, like during the middle of COVID, and we were able to sit down and really formulate a game plan.
Yeah.
We're both football guys.
Yeah.
And we were able to sit down and say, hey, this is how we're going to do this moving forward. We got thrown a sectional for that boys basketball, if you remember right, that first year.
I remember.
And we every day was, noon to 2 every day. We did nothing but basketball sectional stuff, and just trying to figure out the best way to do that. And we made some mistakes. There's a few things we're like, oh my God, what were we thinking there? But we're moving forward and looking at how to do things the proper way. And Coach is 1,000% right. We're kind of allowed to make some errors and correct them
Yeah.
without it being real visible because of COVID and not having kids in the building all day.
Yeah.
I think it's really made us a lot better at what we do. We've been very blessed. The community passed a referendum. We've been very blessed with
I
that.
was going to get to that for sure.
And, the community supports it. Community wants this.
Yes, yes.
And they're thriving for a great product, and for us to be able to give it to the student athletes. And when push comes to shove, we'll talk about a lot of different things in the office, and we may not always agree on it.
Right.
But when we make our final decision, it's always in the best interest of the student athlete.
I love that. That's exactly why I wanted to have you all on, Coach. And, you and I share an alma mater in West Side. And so we can always speak to what we remember
Right.
versus what it is now, you know, and what it used to be. And we know that if you didn't have your ticket to the sectionals, you were just like outside in tears. You know, that's
Right,
how, and
right.
we're trying to build that momentum back up. And I have to say that we are progressively getting there. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we're definitely getting there. And the thing that I try to be really, thoughtful of is that this is these students' turn. Even though we had a great time when we were students here, that was our turn. And so we've tried to stay mindful of the current students, making sure they feel the same way about their experience as we felt about ours. So
Yes.
sometimes that means not necessarily force feeding them the things that we know and what we remember, but to step aside and listen and pay attention to what's currently going on around us and seeing how we can do that and do some of the things that they want to do so that they'll have
They're building
great
their own
experience.
legacy. Yeah,
Exactly.
I like that. And
Exactly.
times are definitely different, and we have a lot of opportunities when it comes to promoting the program. As in, when we do it the right way, the students are our own ambassadors. I can't tell
Correct.
you how many athletes that I'm following, and they are fired up to be on these teams. What do you see, Hank, when you talk about them being in the forefront and leading the messaging?
But it's definitely a different age and generation, and their needs and their wants are a lot different than ours. And Coach put together a student leadership council here at Westside, and that's really helped foster a good relationship and letting the student athletes know what's important to them, what they'd like to see. If you've been to some of the football games here in the fall, some of the basketball games early in the season here, the kids have really bought in, want a student section. We're getting the band more involved. We're getting different factions of people want to be involved. Alumni are planning on coming out to the basketball game tonight against East Chicago. So the excitement is there. And when push comes to shove, when we leave this building, the last one's leaving the building tonight, we'll be the ones smiling because hopefully it's a great atmosphere for our student athletes and the teams we're playing and
Well
Northwest
said.
Indiana.
Yes. I love that you're talking about the involvement as we get ready to close out this segment. One of the highlights of every season now is the Jumbotron. I feel like I'm at the Bulls games now because we're all watching the Jumbotron trying to see if the camera's going to catch us. And then coupled with that, a lot of the community organizations and companies that have come on board to sponsor. And when we come back, we're going to talk about how you can get involved in all of our schools when it comes to athletics and what it means for you to be involved with your Gary Community School Corporation. Stay right there. We'll be right back.
When you join the Army, the first thing they teach you is how to get in line. Not exactly the same in high school. When I enrolled in Westside Leadership Academy and joined ROTC, the first thing I learned was respect. Not just for God and country, but for myself.
Gary Schools, strong, resilient, built for education.
I said I'd never join.
Thought living on sub would be too hard.
I figured only the weatherman tracks storms.
I said my job wouldn't matter. Never knew how strong I was. I never thought this would be my commute.
I figured I'd never get out of my hometown. Or be the one who stops an attack.
Joining the Navy sounds crazy. Saying never actually is.
Welcome back to A Day in the District, and I'm still your host, Chelsea Whittington, joined by my colleagues in athletics, Robert Lee and Hank Kilander, and we're talking all things sports in the district. And I'm going to take everybody down memory lane and send a big old shout out to one of my favorite coaches back in the day, Coach Rodney Fisher. Rod Fisher taught girls basketball for eons and eons and eons, and he had to because he taught me AAU and Ernie Pyle Elementary School. And I only say that to say the rich history that is inherent here in the Gary schools. And I got my first touch base with sports at the elementary level. And for a while in the district, that was something that just wasn't feasible, it wasn't funded, whatever the case was, it's not anymore. Hank, can you start us off on that conversation around the importance of connecting with athletics and academics at the elementary level, not wait until high school?
Right. You know, it's the foundation of any good sports program at a high school level, to get those kids started. We made some changes, and not everybody was on board. We put everybody in orange and blue. We renamed everybody the Cougars, and we want every kid in this district to want to come to Westside.
Yeah.
And how do you do that? You get them out on the court on Saturday mornings. They come running in here. Sometimes we may be tired from a game the night before, but you walk and you see those smiling faces and the kids' enthusiasm, and looking up at that jumbotron that you mentioned and the orange new mural on the wall up there, and seeing all the exciting things we have. And that's what it should be about.
Yeah.
And when Coach Lee came up with the idea, let's get this elementary rolling again, Dr. Goods, upper administration was 1,000% on board. We've had good feedback from the elementary principals and the elementary schools themselves. We've added the cheer.
Yes.
We're going to have a cheer competition this Saturday. We'll have the end of year tournament. It's just really exciting to see all the kids. And it also gives us a chance for our high school coaches, our junior high coaches, to come in and make relationships with these kids.
Yeah.
And, we're 1,000% about relationships, and any coach we hire, anybody we want working with our kids, it's got to be about building relationships with our kids and understanding their wants and their needs. And just to see them out there is an exciting venture. And
Indeed. I can't wait till Saturday to see the babies on
exciting.
the floor. Coach, what's your perspective? I know it adds another layer of work. I get that. But I think that we benefit on the other end when you say, well, he started at Williams in the 1st grade, and now he is the star player at Westside in the 10th grade. And speak to this, Coach. Don't other communities do that? Don't they have one high school that they're feeding all their children to? Why did it have to be such a foreign concept for us, knowing that this is the only public high school left?
Right. I don't know why it was a foreign concept to us, but the way I kind of look at it, just to kind of piggyback off of what Coach Hank was talking about. We wanted to make sure not only do it for the sake of the sport, but when we look at sports, in general, we look at it as an education-based thing. And so, I've been a coach for a long time, and I think it's, where a kid, performs in the classroom there's a correlation to the way they're going to perform in the, on the court. And as you get older and move up to varsity and obviously go to college, that they'll find, which some of our students are finding out, is that, everyone's good, but everyone can't learn, and everyone at some point has to start over as a freshman, and they have to have the ability to learn.
That's right.
And so we want to make sure that what we're doing at the elementary school is education-based. We've, principals have come to us and said they're using that to keep certain kids on the straight and narrow because they know they're going to lose that opportunity if they didn't do what they were supposed to do.
You can't practice if you don't turn in your math homework.
Right. And that's different. That's different than when you have a kid that's just playing biddy or playing AAU,
and they do whatever at school.
It's just about talent, and so then when you get them in high school when they ain't never had that experience, they look at you like, what do you mean I got to go to class? What do you mean, I'm the best player? Well,
best players riding the bench today.
Right, so that they have a hard time with it.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that in athletics in Gary Community School that it remains education-based. And because one of my big pet peeves is that I don't like to have or like to see a star athlete that everyone comes on Friday and cheers on, okay, and then once the season is over, we don't know anything about them.
Right.
You know, they just came and made us feel good, and we got off work. We're going to watch this kid play. But then what did he get out of it?
That's right.
Absolutely nothing.
That's
so
right.
we want to make sure that, like, if that kid is doing his thing on the court and that kind of thing, that we can come alongside him to make sure that he's, you know, able to continue his dream and goal of, you know, whatever it may be. You know, but as sports being the catalyst to that.
Yes.
You know, and
Well,
it's not just drop them off.
Absolutely. And what your department has made easy for my department is helping to tell those stories, especially the one about how so many of our athletes are A students. Hank, talk a little bit about that. Those GPAs are,
Well, we've really done an amazing job. You know, Coach Buggs, our basketball coach, and all our coaches, but have raised the standard. We've upped the bar. This is what our expectations are. We're going to make sure that you're doing the NCAA clearinghouse. You're going to be taking the right classes. We want to see you succeed. We want to see doors open for you.
Yes.
When you come out of our program and finish your senior year, we want to have avenues. Whether you go be a carpenter, you go to college, you find a different trade, go work in the steel mill if that's feasible now. But we want a kid to have an option and be able to have a successful life outside of Westside.
Yes, because everybody's not going to the pros. Let's just be real.
Or everybody's not going to go to
or college.
college.
Exactly.
Right. And we don't want to sit there at graduation and watch a kid walk across the stage. Oh my, what's he going to do?
What's going to happen to him? I love it.
So we need to have a vision. We need to have a plan for all our student athletes. So we tell our coaches, find something for this kid to do. Let's look at it in the future. Let's have a discussion with this kid. What is his future going to look like, and what doors can we open for that?
Well, that certainly reminds me that you also have your young people engage in volunteer projects. Can you give me a little dabble of that, Coach, before we go to break?
Well, the big thing that we're really working hard with our kids on is actually working within our office.
Okay.
So we have students that are, you know, able to do the books at games. You know, they're able to operate the board, the sound system, and things like that.
That's a great skill.
And, you know, and these guys here, you know, when they broadcast our game, you know, they're able to bring some kids over from the Career Center to help broadcast the game. So that's where we kind of, you know, want to start.
Yes.
You know, and then from there, you know, I know like our SALT team, which is the Student Athletic Leadership Team, you know, we helped Miss Millsap with the passing out food on Fridays.
That's
we did the athletics built like 10 boxes, which basically fed 10 families.
That's awesome,
so
Coach.
we just try, again, it's education based. It's, you know, it's not just about shooting, dribbling, running, tackling, you know, those types of things.
But we do love that. And when we come back for our final segment, we're going to talk about what 2024 holds and how you, the viewer, can get involved. Stay right there. We'll be right back.
Oh, beautiful for heroes proved in liberating strife, who more than self their country loved, and mercy more than life.
It's gross. I don't really want to talk about it. She didn't want to at first, but I mean, it's no big deal. Everybody does it.
I was ready, totally ready, because we had been practicing this dance for weeks.
He was supposed to take this girl to this dance, but
I sprained my ankle at track practice.
I hate sharing anything personal. It's so disgusting.
For the dance, I let her wear my shoes and she hated it, but I thought she looked great in them.
he could barely even walk.
I ended up taking some pills for my pain.
Yeah, they were my mom's, but
it didn't go well.
If it's not yours,
if it's not yours,
if it's not yours,
hey you.
Don't take it.
Don't take it.
Don't take it.
Don't take it. You won't believe what happened next.
Time surely flies when you're talking sports. Welcome back to the final segment of A Day in the District. I'm your host, Chelsea Whittington, and as you know, A Day in the District is a show designed to help you, the viewer, stay connected to your Gary Community School Corporation. Sports and more sports. We're in 2024. It's time for the spring sports. Coach, what do we have on deck? I know wrestling has already started, so what else do we have to look forward to? And talk about wrestling.
Well, wrestling, we're about to start the sectionals this Saturday. We have a couple young men that we feel like going to have an opportunity to make some noise in the state tournament, so we're looking forward to that. But in the spring, we're going to kick off track, which they're starting to work out, track and field. They'll have their first meet here in February, indoor meet. We got baseball, softball going on, girls tennis. The thing that I'm probably most excited about, we're going to do elementary track this spring. So,
oh, wow. They can get out there running. Look at Tank smile, burn that energy off.
We do elementary track. But not to mention, one of the things we failed to mention is that, we have all these same sports at the middle school as well.
That's right. That's right.
And so we've basically, Coach Coach Gabrielle, she's doing a phenomenal job, at the middle school. Those kids won the conference championship in football. And so she's doing a phenomenal job there. But we're starting to one of my focus is kind of making sure we're keeping the young ones pretty active.
Okay.
And so what we got on table is, obviously putting in track this spring, but doing co-ed softball with them in the fall. And at some point, we're going to work in flag football with them.
Oh, wow.
And so we just want to make sure they stay pretty active all year round.
That's wonderful. I'm excited for you, and it's beautiful to see because, people always ask, what's going on, and I didn't know they had sports and this type of program. So I try my best to catch you on all the platforms. But what I know to you two to be is you all don't want the fanfare and glory. I know we put our kids forward, but you help me tell the story of the amazing opportunities, particularly if there is a parent or a guardian who's watching, who's trying to make that decision on enrolling their children in Gary schools. And so we want to show them that we elevate academics and we pair it and complement it with the athletic program, and they go together happily and a lot of times leading to scholarships. Hank, how important is parental involvement when it comes to your athletic platform?
We love the parental involvement because you want the kids to have the same core values that we're trying to work with them, and those reinforced at home and in here. And everybody's on the same page. They say it takes a village to raise a student now or a child now. So I think it's very, very important to have those relationships with our coaches having with the parents, ourselves having with the parents. But a quick story, we have a kid that played football here a couple years ago and has done a 180 in his life. He came in the other day and told me he had a 2.8 GPA in college, and that was probably double what he had
What
here.
he had in it.
And he was so proud of it, and that's the first thing he said. So that's when you know you're making some strides with some things.
I love it.
And how important those relationships are in trying to get kids to understand that. West Side's a great place.
It is.
Jalen Washington, North Carolina, salutatorian of the class.
That's right.
Derek Mister, a straight A student up at the University of Minnesota. We could go on and on
Yes,
and on
I
about
saw his
our
mom in the
athletes
grocery store. I'm like, how's Mr. Mister? It's just
Right.
a great family atmosphere. And you said it's so nice and so well messaged. But I'm going to preach to the parents to say, for those like me who don't have children in the district, but we still are part of that family unit that I feel motivates and makes them excel when they see us in the stands. Nobody wants to play to an empty stadium. What about the community involvement, Coach? And tell us what we need to do as responsible citizens here in Gary.
Well, again, the big thing is that support. First of all, it starts with supporting your own child. But then it kind of keeps trickling down. Now it's my niece, my nephew, and my neighbor, and my high school that I went to, and then it's just we just like we used to do.
Yes,
it's Gary, so we get behind it, and we just kind of, and remember what type of support it is. So sometimes, it's being present. Sometimes it's also financially.
Yes.
Every ticket that's sold that that comes in that door, it goes directly to our student athletes to buy uniforms, get officials, transportation, those things. So, when we think that, okay, I'm a alum and I've been doing this, but again, you may earn the right to be on the pass list, but think about it in terms of like, hey, I want to make a donation. I want to contribute, to these kids. And you just be amazed how far that goes.
Oh, it really goes far. And forgive me for name dropping, but there are some companies and organizations locally who are graduates not only of Westside but other schools. Well, I won't name drop. I will just say when you look up at the Jumbotron and you see those various logos, because there's so many, and then they'll call me later and say, I saw the show and you didn't say my company. So these companies A, B to Z are donating so that it's a win-win.
It's a win-win.
They get to advertise their companies. They are also role models for the children to say, maybe I want to be a business owner one day, and then they're pouring into the program to ensure their success. Hank, what do you think about that?
Well, I think it's amazing, and not everybody has the same means to donate financially. Sometimes I just want to be a mentor. We have several people, hey, can I work with this athlete, or can I go to the games here, and just be a positive role model from a distance, or even interacting with our student athletes. So I think there's so many different ways you can impact a student athlete. But I've been throughout Northwest Indiana, walking in businesses, grocery stores, wearing Westside stuff, and I get stopped all the time.
Yeah.
Man, Westside, man, that's my school.
Yes.
And, what can I do to help? And, I hear good things, and that's where we want to continue to get more and more people involved. And everybody can have a role in it. Not everybody has to write a check to be involved.
Good point. So as we wrap up, I can't believe we're down to the minute. Coach, how do we get in touch with you and your team to be an impact on athletics?
Yep, the best way is by email.
Okay.
Just like I'm right here with my phone off. To call is just
moot.
Right. I mean, it's the phone rings all the time, and unfortunately, we don't have time to get to every phone call. But I do make a habit of, before I go to bed, check emails. When I first get in, check my emails. I do make that out of habit. So. And it's simple. rlee at GarySchools with the S.org. Is that simple?
rlee at GarySchools.org. And you certainly must visit our website. I want to thank both of you for being my guests today. And I especially want to thank you for always sending the information we need to push out to the community. Find all of the schedules at GarySchools.org. You have been watching A Day in the District. I've been your host, Chelsea Whittington. We plan to see you in the stands supporting our youth, not only in academics, but athletics and across the entire school year. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
WSTG TV.